In the top stories, no appointments required for COVID-19 vaccinations. Sexual harassment bill passed in Jamaica's Senate. And Pandora papers expose secret assets of world leaders. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Monday, October 4th, 2021. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, persons desirous of being vaccinated can now do so without any appointment, said Minister of Health Honorable Akila Byron-Nisbet during her presentation at a recent sitting of National Assembly at Parliamentary Chambers.
The Ministry of Health aims to remove all barriers to the access to vaccination. There is now no appointment needed for vaccination with the Pfizer vaccine. Again, there will be no need to make an appointment for vaccination with the Pfizer vaccines. Persons can simply walk into our various clinics during the scheduled hours for vaccination and be vaccinated. The Federation would have received an additional 1,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. And we are expecting some further supplies of AstraZeneca shortly. This then facilitates us in offering two vaccine choices at our clinics, the AstraZeneca and the Pfizer vaccines.
Health centers in St. Kitts will be open every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Sundays, Bastille, Tabernacle, and Old Road will be open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., while all the other centers will be open from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Minister Byron-Nisbet said that the Ministry of Health continues to work closely with the Ministry of Education to determine a schedule for high schools regarding when each class will be accommodated for vaccination. She noted that the more people will get vaccinated, the sooner St. Kitts and Nevis can get back to a level of normalcy. She implored all to play their part and exercise a keen sense of individual and community responsibility, as the government cannot fight COVID-19 alone. Ahead of the arrival of the second port call of the Celebrity Equinox cruise ship on Tuesday to Port Zante, the general public is being asked not to enter the restricted sites at the port. The call was made by Product Development Manager at the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, Melnesia Marshall.
We're asking the general public not to enter the restricted sites. And this is because we're ensuring that we keep our nationals safe. We want to ensure that while our visitors are enjoying their experiences, that we also ensure that the general public is also safe. And so we are asking for your cooperation to ensure that we're able to achieve this goal.
She said the temporary fencing will be reinstalled in an effort to reduce the likelihood of visitors coming into contact with locals.
Port Zante will have a temporary fence, and this is to ensure that our general public is not engaging with our visitors. We want to ensure that you are safe. We want to keep the bubble experience intact. We want to maintain the integrity of all of the work that we have put in place in our protocols with the Ministry of Health, the Task Force, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, and the Ministry of Tourism to keep our general public safe.
Marshall added that the main priority of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority is the continued safety of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The football and law fraternities are mourning the loss of Anthony Johnson, immediate past president of the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, since news broke of his sudden passing on Monday morning. Johnson, who is originally from Newtown, served as president from 2009 to 2021 when he was succeeded by Atiba Harris. In a post to his Facebook page, Harris offered sympathies, saying in part, quote, "I'd like to extend sincere condolences to his family and friends during this time," end quote. Condolences have also been extended from member clubs and the wider public. ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation extends condolences to his friends and family. Regionally, Jamaican lawmakers approved the amendments and passed the Sexual Harassment Protection and Prevention Act 2021 bill in the Senate on Friday. This in an effort to put an end to the offensive practice in Jamaica. More in the CBM Live news report.
A bill entitled An Act to Make Provision for the Prevention of Sexual Harassment and for Connected Matters read a third time and passed.
The issue of sexual harassment knows no color. After several hours of contribution and debate on the Sexual Harassment Protection and Prevention Act 2021, both sides of the political divide approved the 23 amendments.
Those in favor of the amendment? Against? So I now put clause 36 as amended. Those in favor? Against? Ayes have it.
Leader of Government Business Kamina Johnson-Smith says this marks a positive day in Jamaica's development of an equitable society. Senator Johnson-Smith says the bill has clear provisions that protect individuals in the workplace or institutions from unwanted sexual advances.
This act, this bill, does not intend to remove flirtation, to remove the starting of relationships, etc. It just really requires people to respect the concept that someone may not want your advance. To think, just to think, which is a human capacity, and therefore just a matter of respect, which is something that we all embrace as part of our culture as well. Respect is big for us. So why can respect not simply be thought about in this context as well? Respect my right to not want you to make an advance to me. And respect my right to work in a way where I don't have to be thinking about that. Why, when I'm doing my work, should I have to be thinking about how I manage your desires? You need to sort yourself out.
Leader of Opposition Business Senator Donna Scott Motley says it is evident that Jamaica has a cultural problem and a cultural shift is necessary.
This is a very sensitive matter. People feel strongly about it. And the intention is to empower persons, men, Senator Crawford, and women, to come forward and to feel protected by the law.
Robeanne Williams for CVM Live.
Vaccinated St. Lucians will have to wait till a digital vaccination certificate comes into effect for them to be exempted from the self-isolation requirement when traveling to the UK. More in this DBS News report.
As it has been for the past year, St. Lucians traveling to the United Kingdom are required to self-isolate for a maximum of 10 days on arrival, in addition to presenting a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours prior to traveling. This requirement is not limited to the unvaccinated, but also to those who are fully vaccinated. This policy, says the resident British High Commissioner Leslie Saunderson, remains so, though the UK has changed its rules for international travel. The new rules have changed from the red, amber, green light system to a single red list of countries and simplified travel measures which depend on one's vaccination status for arrivals from the rest of the world.
St. Lucia used to be on the amber list, but now it's in the rest of the world category. So the policy in terms of people who've been vaccinated in St. Lucia arriving in the UK has not changed. And that is, as you said, requiring a negative PCR or antigen test within 72 hours before travel, and arranging for tests on day 2 and 8 in the UK, and self-isolating when you get there and having those tests. And you can self-isolate anywhere in your accommodation of your choosing.
The situation will hopefully change soon with the development of a digital vaccine certificate.
We're working very closely with the Chief Medical Officer to get information about the new digital certificate, new digital vaccination certificate that St. Lucians will be getting for travel. And once we've got all that in order and it's been launched, then we hope that will then remove the need for people vaccinated in St. Lucia to have to self-isolate. They'll be able to travel to the UK and go about their business without any self-isolation.
Until then, vaccinated nationals will have to undergo self-isolation but can opt to take a test on day 5 of their isolation. If it is negative, then it can end. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
Internationally, a huge leak of financial documents has exposed what is claimed to be the secret assets and dealings of some of the world's richest people. More in this Reuters report.
A massive leak of financial documents published on Sunday allegedly ties world leaders to secret stores of wealth, from the King of Jordan to associates of Russian President Vladimir Putin. It's being called the Pandora Papers and was published by several major news organizations. The dump of almost 12 million records comes 5 years after the leak known as the Panama Papers, which exposed how money was hidden by the wealthy in ways undetectable by law enforcement agencies. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists said the new trove of files were linked to dozens of current and former national leaders and amount to the biggest leak of offshore data in history. However, the group did not say how the files were obtained, and Reuters could not independently verify the allegations or documents. Among the claims are that Jordan's King Abdullah, a close ally of the United States, used offshore accounts to spend more than $100 million on luxury homes in the US and UK. Lawyers representing Abdullah told the consortium he had not, quote, made any use whatsoever of the proceeds of aid or assistance intended for public use. The Washington Post, which is part of the network, reported on the case of Svetlana Krivonagich, a Russian woman who the paper says was in a secret relationship with President Vladimir Putin. The Post says that just weeks after she gave birth to a baby girl in 2003, she became the owner of a Monaco apartment through an offshore company. The Kremlin did not respond to requests for comment. The documents also allege that the Czech Republic's Prime Minister, Andrej Babis, owned an offshore estate worth $22 million on the French Riviera. The news comes just days before the country's parliamentary elections. Babis on Sunday denied any wrongdoing while speaking during a televised debate.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has insisted that the UK's ongoing crisis over petrol shortages and rising costs is part of an adjustment period. Al Jazeera's Paul Brennan reports.
Dodging the Manchester rain showers and the heckling of protesters outside the security perimeter, the British Prime Minister would be forgiven for feeling besieged by circumstance at the moment. But Boris Johnson is not a self-doubting kind of person. The ongoing queues at the UK's petrol pumps he dismissed as being largely driven by demand rather than a chronic shortage of delivery drivers. And he insisted the UK's labour shortages would not be solved by pulling what he described as the big lever-marked uncontrolled immigration.
When people voted for change in 2016 and when people voted for change again in 2019, as they did, they voted for the end of a broken model of the UK economy that relied on low wages and low skill and chronic low productivity. And we're moving away from that.
The concept of levelling up is a major theme of this conference and this government. The drive for equality of opportunity, regardless of background or income, and a redistribution of investment and infrastructure spending to the regions. But paying for that involves cutting social benefits and increasing taxes. And several thousand anti-austerity protesters made their concerns heard as they marched past the conference venue.
Well, basically, this Conservative government are driving people into poverty at the moment. They've taken millions of people off furlough, they're cutting benefits, and they're driving down wages, terms and conditions of working people in this country.
At the heart of Boris Johnson's argument to the conference and to the wider public is the principle of jam tomorrow. Yes, there will be shortages at the petrol pumps. There may even be shortages on supermarket shelves leading up to the crucial Christmas period. But he says the UK is in a transition period where it's moving to a higher wage, higher skill economy, and he says the benefits will soon come.
There are doubts, even among his Conservative colleagues, about the strong likelihood that more tax rises may be needed to pay for all this. In the 2019 election, Johnson's party made spectacular gains in Manchester and the north of England. The question is whether he can win them over again when he gives his keynote conference speech on Wednesday. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, Manchester.
And now for the weather. Present weather is partly cloudy with dust haze. Winds are from the east at 12 to 20 miles per hour with possible higher gusts at 30 miles per hour. Seas are 1.8 to 2.4 meters or 6 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory is in effect. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today will be partly sunny with a 20% or slight chance of showers. Tonight it will be partly cloudy with a slight chance of rain. Sunset today will be at 5:57 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 6:02 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.